1858 and ended in 1945. And lastly, the American War starts in 1965 and ended in 1973. I'll tell you something interesting for each area so it doesn't get bored. Firstly, the Chinese colonization. It ended on the Mekong River where Ngokwe launched wooden stakes onto the river so that when the tide falls, China's ships will be destroyed and sink. And China didn't only want the land. They wanted to erase the culture, the traditions, and the history. But one thing they couldn't erase was the bronze drums. Vietnamese people worship these bronze drums like gods. That's why the Chinese couldn't get rid of them. Before China planned an invasion, General Lee Soon-King already knew that China was going to invade. So he made sure Vietnam was happy and prepared and ready. Secondly, the French War. This war was special because it's the first Indo-China War. It happened when the French attempted to resort colonial rule on Vietnam after World War II. The trap was to hide in the valley of Điện Biên Phủ, where they would easily win. However, the trap flipped and the Viet Cong soldiers were underestimated. They had over 100,000 troops surrounding the valley, forcing them to surrender. And lastly, the American War. It started up the north, also known as the PACI, won as tanks rode in the Yindong. And the American citizens were protesting to end the war because of how many people were dying. Here are some fun facts about these areas. In the jungle, tunnels underground known as the famous tunnel where people were today. And did you know about the backwards footsteps? Vietnamese soldiers made shoes or slippers out of car tires backwards, so that when the American soldiers tried tracing this, they all got confused and led to the wrong place. And well, sounds next, well, innocent citizens died because American soldiers committed a lot of war crimes. But the most known one yet is the Agent Orange. They sprayed a chemical called Agent Orange over Vietnam's jungles, killing our forests, killing our trees, and killing our animals. Our soldiers don't have places to hide. And for LOI 1, I answered questions like, why did so many countries invade Vietnam? Or even how did Vietnamese people find out about Vietnamese history? And even the origin of Vietnam. I got answers like, for example, Vietnam has great geographic location, having both sea and mountains, giving them good natural resources, and it's easier to trade. That's why so many countries wanted to invade Vietnam. And war remnants. They found 800,000 tons of unexploded bombs scattered across our forests, telling them more about Vietnamese history. For LOI 2, I answered questions like language, population, and geographic location. I dived deeper into why Vietnam is like how it is today. I got answers like Vietnam's geographic location started in the north, then expanded in the south and got a bit land from Cambodia and the Champa Kingdom. The population. It was a balance between wars, migration, and births. Vietnam today has 102 million people, but if the wars didn't happen, that would be 200 million people because a lot of people died during those wars. And the language. Vietnamese